This is Raza Abbas. I'm very happy to have the second season of the Career Conversations, season 2. And we have the 12th Career Conversation with Dr. Brian, a great friend and enlightened colleague. He was the past president of APCDA, the Asia Pacific Career Development Association. So welcome to the show, Dr. Brian.
Thank you. It's so great to see your face again, Raza, and to be here with you.
Thank you. So I wanted to start the conversation with your very vast career development experiences. How did you come into the profession of career development? What was your inspiration? Can you enlighten our viewers that are listening to you across the globe?
Sure. I was in pain, basically. I had a very asynchronous start to my career as someone who grew up very working class and a first generation college student. So I was hopping around, and I had gotten a job at Penn State University that I was not qualified for, and was informed by human resources that I had a contract, but I could never move laterally within the university. I could never be promoted. I could never really get a pay raise because I was accidentally hired into a master's degree position. At the same time, I was also going to therapy for mental health therapy for the first time. And so as it unfolded, I had a career crisis, and I used a career counselor in conjunction with going to a therapist for the first time, so both simultaneously. And it really helped me realize the super strong link between career development and mental health on a personal level. And it just so happens that I was at Penn State University, the home of Dr. Ed Herr, Dr. Skip Niles, Dr. Jerry Trusty, when he was the editor of the Career Development Quarterly. So I was in the perfect place to dive into graduate school and learn from the greatest at the time, all living. 2 of them are still alive, but the greatest career development scholars in the world. And so I was fortunate enough to be supported by them for my graduate studies of both a master's and a doctoral degree. And I've been a career coach, counselor, trainer, and academic ever since.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. As you know, that the real change of career reforms happens in schools. So what types of measures would you recommend are required in our respective educational systems to ensure career policies are sustainable?
Yeah, so it depends on what country we're in, right? So some countries like the United States have mandated that career development interventions happen in schools. Other countries have not. But even in the countries where it's mandated by either law or code, and I'll use the United States as an example, you find very little career development interventions in the school systems. And so we know from research that if we were to start career development and guidance program at the elementary level, that we would have the most positive or pro-social outcomes, but they are rarely found in elementary schools. We know that middle school is the next best place to start. And again, we don't see robust career development and intervention programs in many middle school level environments. In high school is the next best opportunity, but too often it becomes a practical matter of driving students to choose majors and choose universities, and it's not more of a holistic career development perspective. And so when I say the word career development, I really mean how our life intersects with career. I really mean how our physical health, our mental health, our relationship health intersects with career choice. And too often we wait too long, and then we don't take a holistic view on career development when we're implementing interventions in school systems. So we have plenty of examples of robust programs in schools, but we don't have enough universal examples. And so we know it works. We just need to get the political capital and will to make sure that we're doing it as fully as we want, so that our children can have their best lives and be their best selves.
Wonderful. I think these interviews, one of the objectives of these interviews are to basically raise awareness. So as you rightly said, that evidence shares and research shares that there is a lot of information that is available that shares that career counseling, career guidance, and career development interventions in schools, they do make an impact, but we just need to actually show case studies to the policymakers to actually make that happen more frequently. One of the important things in this pandemic is how can we increase access to people that really need our services?
Yeah, so I think every hardship can be an opportunity, right? We know that from trauma research and all types of recovery research. Um, we have learned so much, and I think most importantly, parents who have had to homeschool have learned so much about their children's basic needs. Um, and so how do we take this and sort of boomerang out of the pandemic time period with renewed focus and energy on comprehensive career guidance and development programs in schools? I think that case studies are an important component. I think that research evidence is an important component. But at the end of the day, in political systems, it's politics that matter. And so I think that we need to create platforms to gather the political will, particularly of parents, to advocate for more career development for their children and to advocate for more human development. Now, school is important, but we often become hyper focused just on results of testing and learning. And that can take our concentration away from human development factors that are just, if not more important, occurring in school. So if you look at all of the list of skills needed for the 21st century in the world of work, very few of them are academic skills, and many of them are human skills, right? Ability to collaborate, ability to problem solve, ability to self-regulate, ability to get along with others, ability to communicate. These things are happening developmentally in schools as well and are a huge part of a comprehensive career development program and guidance program. So I think that this is a great opportunity, but we have to be political, I think, in our thinking. We have to be building movements online. We have to be getting parents involved to talk about the importance of both academics, but also the human development side that is occurring in our school systems.
Excellent perspective. I think involving parents, and I like to give an example that in Pakistan, we often say that parents are the chief justice when it comes to career planning because they are a key influence. And I use the word influencer because unlike the West, where a child is much more independent in regards to making career decisions, but in the Asian cultures, I think parents are a game changer. So you rightly pointed that out. As you know, the theme of these advocacy videos on YouTube on maximizing career guidance and career development. This is from the theme of the IABG's conference of 2021. In your humble way, how can career scholars and practitioners and career professionals amplify career profession in transforming lives nationally and globally?
I think we have to do it differently than we've done it in the past. So the 21st century has brought an entirely different way of capturing and using audiences to reach common goals. So as you know, I have an online brand called Global Career Guy. I barely used Facebook 4 years ago. I was saying, I hate social media. I don't think that I ever want that to be part of my life. But I realized that the old style as an academic of coming up with a theory and writing up my research in journals, that work is still super important. But people need to hear it. People need to understand it. And so I think one of my greatest skills that I've developed in the last 5 years, in addition to being more online as a presence, is trying to translate science of career development to practitioners like yourself, but also to the general public, to make sure that the scholarly work that I'm doing can be understood by the parents, the policymakers, and the citizens of different countries so that they can then use it to advocate for their own best needs.
I think very wisely said. When we translate our literature, our academics into a much more easy language to understand on social media, our outreach and our advocacy amplifies. So very rightly said. So we should not be scared of social media on a lighter note, but we should embrace it. And we should embrace it collectively as a community of career professionals. As you know, Mr. Anthony Mann from OECD shares that career guidance in the pandemic is irresistible. Can you share your valuable perspective on that? This is a no-brainer now.
Could you ask that question one more time? I'm sorry, the sound was not clear and I didn't hear the important part of the question.
My question is, as Mr. Anthony Mann from OECD shares, career guidance in the pandemic is irresistible. Can you share your valuable perspective on that?
Yeah, again, I think that human beings learn not from just experience, but from reflecting on experience. The great philosopher John Dewey said that. We don't learn just from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. And so the pandemic has taken our social life and shrunk it into the family unit for the most part, or the local community unit. And parents have had to watch their children react both to the social impacts of the pandemic and then to the school impacts of the pandemic. And so we're much more connected to how education impacts the future life of our children. And we're much more connected in our own lives to our own career development, because work has become more precarious, or we've lost work, or our income from work has changed as adults, or we're realizing that we're going to have to pivot to a different style of work, maybe more remote work, or to a total new field of work because of this. So again, out of great hardship comes an opportunity to rise out of that and create and author a different life. And the more of us that are talking about this in an informed manner, the more authorship that everyone will have, writing our own stories moving forward. So we know it's important. We're looking for more guidance and accurate information, which is why more people like you and I need to be on social media and doing public events and talking about career development broadly. And I think the message needs to be two things. One, it's okay to be concerned with the uncertainty that you are experiencing right now. Human beings were designed for this level of uncertainty. We've sort of gotten a little soft in the last 50 years because science has been farther ahead of disease than it's ever been before, and career has been further ahead of basic needs than it ever has before. And so we've forgotten that the default mode of humans throughout all of our history has been this level of uncertainty, if not more. So it's going to be okay. We'll be able to figure this out. And now, listening to informed voices, here is how we think about and chart a pathway into the future.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Recently, as you know, yesterday was International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And these are international days that the United Nations has designated throughout the year. Teachers' Day, Labor Day, Youth Day. So I was just wondering, why not we as a careers community, I mean, people are doing great work, why not we initiate and advocate a UN International Careers Day? Your valuable perspective on that.
I think that would be a good idea. I see these days, they're designed to draw attention, right? And so one of the things that we need to draw attention to is the importance of career in all human life. I do think that we would need, as a profession, to advocate for some strategy around that, right? Because career is so comprehensive, and particularly if we look at economic development of countries, let's say, the career experience is very different. And so I would say, yes, we want to draw attention to careers. I think as a profession, we would want to talk about what is the strategy in advocating for such a day. So for example, is the strategy to understand how the globalization of work impacts different workers depending on the economic development of their country differently? Or is the strategy to learn more about how career guidance in schools really has positive pro-social impacts on the outcome of work? So I'm a very strategic thinker, and so I want to maximize the potential of our success in getting an International Career Day, which means I think we have to be very focused on what outcome, what part of career development do we really want to see change? What is the thing that most needs to be changed for the greatest good? Is how I would think of that personally.
I think that's a great angle. That advocacy is great, but once we have a crystal clear advocate strategy, I think then it translates into action. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And last but not the least, what would be your message to career practitioners and career scholars that are currently working on the profession or plan to enter the profession, which contributes towards the UN Sustainable Goals, social justice, and global harmony?
Yeah, and again, so big thing. I can talk about what I'm personally focused on, which is to humanize work more. I think a lot of what we've seen unfold in career development has been very driven by the employer focused. And I think that finding our best life through career is the angle that I tend to take. And in taking that to achieve social justice, we have to recognize the impact that work has on the human being's most basic needs for safety, security in life and lifestyle and family planning, individual relationships, and how we feel, our positive feelings. A recent research report that I just read that looked at work engagement globally found that only 15% of workers around the world feel engaged at work. Okay. If we look at economically developed countries like the UK and the United States are the two that I remember, that number was 30-something%. So the reality is work is something that has to be done in the modern world and has always had to be done. The way we think about work has changed. But we have a great opportunity in this age of abundance because of our economics and our technology to make work something that is a contributing factor to a total good life, to our relationships, to our mental health, to our physical health. And that I think career professionals who often were trained on just make the decision, help them get a job, make the decision, help them get a job. I'm encouraging professionals through my training programs to take a more holistic perspective and look at how work impacts the human animal and how we can leverage our work as career development to create more positive and pro-social life experiences through focus on work.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing a very holistic angle and a very comprehensive perspective on career development. It was indeed a pleasure and an honor to listen from your angle and your perspective from the US. Thank you so much for your time and views. I would like to recommend Dr. Brian is available on LinkedIn. He's very active on social media. He also has a website as well, and he will be happy to share the link to get connected. Thank you very much for your time and for your valuable insights this evening.
Great. And Raza, thank you for both. I mean, your global leadership, but I'm most familiar with your leadership in the Asia Pacific region, and for really being the vanguard of career development in your home country of Pakistan. So I am so appreciative of your work and your contribution to the field.
Thank you. Take good care. Bye.